Good evening, Lemon Nation. Welcome to Lemon Live at 5. I am thrilled that you are here. We are on time because this morning we were a little bit late because I didn't get in until after midnight, in bed at 5 o'clock. Still recovering from New Year's Eve and recovering from the guest who's going to be on just happened to be there a little bit New Year's Eve. And we got to hang out with him. So I'm glad to have him on. You probably saw him on the thumbnail. You guys know I'm talking about James Carville. I'll bring him in a minute. But hit the like, hit the thumbnail because it does affect the algorithm. More people become aware of our channel, and that's very important because we do some good work over here, and we have some great guests like we're going to have in moments. This caught my eye today after we heard about Maduro and all the Maduro hoopla. I saw this, and I said, you know what? I got to get in touch with this man. Roll it.
There are a corrupt group of people. Never, ever underestimate what Trump will do to try to survive and draw attention away from Jeffrey Epstein and the fact that we're getting ready to be average people are plunged into health insurance that they can't pay while we run up $3 trillion in debt, giving people make over $500,000 a year massive tax cuts. That's what's really going on in this country. You need to know it. And you need to change it come November of this year.
I agree. James Carville is here. He is a veteran political strategist. That's all I need to say. A legend. Good to see you, James. Got to see you.
Thank you, Don. You're a legend yourself.
So, James, you know what? Hey, great minds. I don't know if I have a great mind, but I got to tell you, I had not seen this, but this was my morning show before I saw what you said. This is what I said. Watch. What's in those Epstein files? I mean, come on. What is in those Epstein files? Because every time that story gets close to daylight, something else explodes. A new crisis, a new emergency, a new headline that pulls everyone's attention away. We were promised transparency. We were promised the truth. Instead, we got delays. We got silence. We got noise. And then suddenly, nobody's talking about Epstein right now. What is he so afraid of, James?
Well, that's what we don't know. But we know there's something. Okay, we can tell by his behavior that he's very, very scared. He's a scared old man. We have a lot of reason to suspect that there's a lot more to find out. Every time I turn around, I don't know, somebody said 2 million more, 5 million more. I don't know how much information the government had on this guy. I mean, who the hell has 5 million pages on him? But it's clear that he wanted to divert attention from that Epstein files. And by the way, it's clear it worked. Venezuela's everywhere. If you look at the search of the number of times Epstein's name appeared in the press, the 5 days before Venezuela compared to the 5 days after, it would be mind-boggling. So in his mind, this worked. And the danger is he'll pull something similar to divert attention.
I quoted or paraphrased the former President Barack Obama, who told us before the election, James, that the dangers of seeing Trump back in the White House. And he said, we've seen this movie before and the sequel is always worse. Don't we know that? And Barack Obama was right. And every time Donald Trump pulls something, he gets away with it. And then we go back to the Epstein files. He does another thing. He starts rounding people up without due process. He's defying federal judges. And then the next thing will be worse, as you say. What could be worse than this?
I don't know. I mean, I knew it was going to be bad a year ago. And you knew it was going to be bad a year ago. You had no idea it was going to be this bad. You knew they were going to resort to, shall we say, financial shenanigans to profit themselves. We couldn't imagine this. We couldn't imagine how much crypto was designed to help them get rich. We couldn't imagine any of this stuff. And by the way, if you look at what happened in Argentina, where they sent $20 billion to bail out the Wall Street guys, Steve Wall Street guys own shares of big stake in Citgo, which is a Venezuelan company almost. And you'll find out the motivation behind, in my opinion, the motivation behind 98% of the things he does is financial. And I suspect it's here too. And it has the real benefit of burying the Epstein story and making his friends and probably himself more money, which he can't wait for. So it's a daily double for him.
I think everything. Well, look, it's usually financial, but I think this one, as you said, yeah, it is compounded. But I think his biggest motivation lately, within the last couple of months, that has been to distract people from the Epstein files.
Yes.
I even think all of this rounding up of people off the street, I think that's a distraction partially of Epstein file. I think the bombing of the boats in Venezuela, distraction from the Epstein files. Now, here's one thing: since you do politics and you advise people. Now, I understand what you said about the it's everywhere, but I think people have caught on to it. And I'm going to play this. This is CNN. You can tell me if you disagree or not. They're saying this is going to backfire because people are on to him. Here's Harry Hinton.
Yeah, I'd be really surprised if this turns out to be a positive for Donald Trump, or at least support for this operation. Why? U.S. military ousting Venezuela's president beforehand. Look at this. 47% opposed, just 21% of Americans favored. The unsure was higher than the favor, 29% versus 21%. And get this, just 39% of Republicans favored it. People are saying, oh, this could be a wag the dog moment. I have to ask, which dog are they wagging the tail of?
And then he says the searches were up when they first did it, when it first happened over the weekend, and then they plummeted. Does that tell you anything, James?
Well, yeah, it tells me a lot. By the way, that guy he's got a lot of energy, but he's pretty good. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's a somewhat colorful, but I'll never blame anybody for trying to put a little mustard on the hot dog.
You're not colorful at all, James.
Right. And it also happens to be true. But he's looking to, so if you have a toothache, all you care about is getting rid of that toothache. And somebody says, you really need to do something about your diarrhea. Well, okay, I'll get to that, but let's get rid of the goddamn toothache first, and I'll worry about diarrhea. Okay, the toothache for him is Epstein. And for now, the pain has been relieved. Of course, it'll come back. It'll manifest itself in greater proportions than it is now. But he's like, I'm not answering any Epstein questions now. And I got the usual suspect of 15% of the Democrats say, well, you got to give him credit. Credit for what? All right. And just think of, Don, what we've done to justify the Chinese invading Taiwan. Look at what we've done for the Russians to justify the invading the Ukraine. But, you take what you want, we take what we want, and that's the world we live in. Yeah.
So then you say that we got to get rid of in 2026. I agree. So, but if you look at this and people are on to him, what do you think 2026 supposes or proposes then? What happens in 2026?
It's going to be a monster Democratic year. And he knows that. And that's the danger, is that he knows what's coming. We know what's coming. I think I'm highly confident Democrats win the Senate. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. But I'm not the only guy that's figured this out. A lot of people have figured it out, and a lot of people around him have figured it out. They've looked at Poland, they've looked at history. Most importantly, they look at these special elections. I mean, it's just blowout everywhere. And I think he's going to try to do everything he can to get rid of the Epstein story. And he's going to try to do everything he can to stop the election. We got to be ready for it.
I was going to say, do you think we're going to have a legit election in 2026? I worry about that.
I
Especially
know
now that he's got the National Guard and he's putting military out there.
Right.
Seems like martial law to me.
He's going to try. And the question is, are we going to be ready? And I'd like to see somebody, maybe the DNC could do this. They could organize people around the country. So let's say they try to seize ballots in North Philadelphia, then people on alert in Chester County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, Bucks County, Berks County, whatever you can think of, are ready to deploy to do sit-ins in Philadelphia, whatever you got to do, be on high alert. I know we have battalions of lawyers that are on high alert. We kind of know this is coming, and we got to prepare for it because it's going to happen. And how do we react as a party? how does the never Trumpers, Republicans, how do they react? I don't know. We got to warn people that, they're coming to try to take the election away from you. And it's pretty easy to figure out where they're going to try to take it. And that is in high performing Democratic areas and where there's a big election coming up. You probably.
What can lawmakers do right now? Is it like Congress? What can they do? Are
They hadn't done anything.
They've done nothing.
It's been a motion. What they're going to do? They're going to sit around with one thumb up their butt and one up their mouth and switch every 5 minutes. They're going to do shit. They haven't done anything yet but give rich people a tax cut. Why do we think they're going to start? Of course we don't.
Yeah. You said 15% of Democrats said that he's doing a good job. Is that what you said?
You always have the
dumbasses.
You could work with him. Remember the panel, they got to work for him. You got to learn to talk to him. He's not, you can actually shape him. He's not as bad as you think. God, these people are just manifestly stupid. That's all I can say. And the idea that just somehow another, and I'm sure this guy's as bad as people say he is. By the way, I think all the fentanyl ever made in China.
There's no fentanyl. Venezuela is not the fentanyl. I don't think they even make it there.
Yeah,
and the drugs, most of the drugs don't even come there. If you listen to even Rand Paul, did we lose James? I think we lost James. But anyway, if you listen to Rand Paul, if you can get that for me, Andy, I don't know if we have it from this morning.
All right, there he is. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, but if you listen to Rand Paul said most of in those drug boats that they were shooting, they said that they've got to stop in 10, 20 places before they even can make it to the United States. Most of them go to Guatemala or someplace else, and it never reaches the United States. It's bullshit. It's really about oil and about distraction.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very unclear. So I mean, all companies think this is a good deal. I mean, I worked in Venezuela. Their equipment is worn out. They overuse it. It's under-maintained. A lot of their crude is what they refer to in the crude business as sour. It has a high sulfur content, and it's only certain refineries that can make it into gasoline. Unfortunately, I think Louisiana is one place that has it because we take everybody's dirty crap and use it. So, but I think we're a big refiner of this high sulfur, what they call sour crude.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of companies, though, by the way, it takes a huge amount of time. If you went in and you took over their oil fields, you'd have to put up better infrastructure. It'd take 10 years, and who knows what these oil companies are a little shy. They're not that stupid. They're going to jump in and pay $100 billion for something they don't know. Based on Trump, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think they're going to be disappointed by how lukewarm the oil companies are toward this.
So it's Lindsey Graham is wrong standing there next to Donald Trump on Air Force One saying, wait till you see how prosperous we are from all the deals we're going to get from Venezuela.
Who name that person's name again?
Lindsey Graham.
Enough said. Enough said.
James, let me get yours. Wait, why'd you say enough said real quick?
Because everybody knows Lindsey Graham. And everybody knows what a political pretzel he is. Okay. Everybody knows how pliable he is. And everybody understands that. So just Lindsey Graham he's the best punchline you could come up with. You don't have to think of one. Just say, oh, Lindsey Graham. Like sometimes I'm giving a speech and I can't get a laugh. I just say Lindsey Graham and people start giggling. It works every time.
Do you see more Marjorie Taylor Greens from the Republican side before the midterms?
Yeah. Because they see it's coming. You're starting to see it from Brian Fitzpatrick, who represents that place in Bucks County. Don Bacon, who's not even going to try to run for re-election, who has that Omaha district. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is there, and now you're starting to hear it a little bit from Boebert. I mean, people are starting to figure out as much as we don't like it, there actually was a MAGA philosophy. People actually thought he cared more about them. It was very nationalistic. It was very isolationist. And Trump might be the most un-MAGA person in MAGA world.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, in some of, we think it's all performance art. Some people actually believe this. I mean, actually, this is actually a core philosophy. And I happen to think that it's incorrect and it's not very wise, but They really believe that. And they feel, increasingly, they're feeling betrayed. Look at Steve Bannon, who's probably the smartest in terms of just intelligence of all of them. I mean, they see it, and Joe Rogan sees it, and they wouldn't be doing this if they thought they were going to lose their audience. They're not. And they see this as a betrayal, and they should.
Yeah. Since you brought that up, I know I'm keeping you a little bit long, but I just want to ask you one more thing. What do you think about all of the fighting, the infighting of the MAGA influencers and streamers and people like Rogan? I don't know if you want to put him in there. Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly,
Right.
all of those guys. What do you think?
Just another sign of an election that they're going to do very poorly at. And everybody is already starting to do the thing. Well, it wasn't me. It was them. Look at it. It was Ben Shapiro. No, it was Tucker Carlson. No, it was, don't look at you. Don't look at me. Look at the guy behind the tree. And this is what the way that political parties act when they're getting ready to face a massive electoral defeat. If you look at the way empires act when they're crumbling down, that everybody is looting and taking everything as fast as they can take it. And their behavior is totally consistent with a movement and a political party that is heading for its swift and impending doom. And it's all predictable when you look at it. And this is, if they thought Trump was strong, or they were scared of him, or they thought that he represented something that they couldn't tackle, as the way they felt about him in March or April of 2025, you wouldn't see this. They don't feel that way anymore. They see this ship is going down, and they don't give a damn how cold the ocean is. It can't be any worse than this burning hot ship that they're on. And that's what you see it.
Legendary political strategist, Mr. James Carville. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank you,
New
my
Year.
dear friend, and give Mama my best.
I will. I'll see you for Mardi Gras.
Absolutely. All right. Mardi Gras Mambo or Carnival Time? Which one you like better?
When you go to New Orleans,
there you go.
ought to go see the Mardi Gras. That's my favorite. When you get to Mardi Gras, somebody show you a carnival far.
There you go. Go get them, man.
I'll see you later. I appreciate it. Lots more to come. A word from our sponsors. Support for the Don Lemon Show today comes from Wild Grain. Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, artisanal pastries, and fresh pastas, and everything bakes in about 25 minutes or less. That's really great. So what I really like is the quality. Simple ingredients that you can pronounce, no preservatives, no shortcuts. They use a slow fermentation process, which tastes better. And for a lot of people, it's really easier on the stomach, and that matters. Their boxes are fully customized. You've got a variety box, you got a gluten-free box, a vegan box, and even the new protein box. I've been loving the sourdough and the fresh pasta. Having that kind of food ready to go makes weeknights easier and weekends feel special. And we use it over the holidays. It was so great. It makes the special occasions feel even more special. So it honestly feels like having an artisan or artisanal bakery in your freezer, especially during the winter. Right now, get $30 off of your first box plus free croissants for life at wildgrain.com/lemon, or use the code lemon at checkout. That's wildgrain.com/lemon, or use the code lemon at checkout. Okay. Support for the show comes from Lean. We've all seen diet fads come and go. You lose weight, you gain it back, and sometimes even more than before. Doctors call that weight cycling, and it's tough on your body and your confidence. Most people need support, not another gimmick. Lean is a non-prescription oral supplement created by doctors. It's not an injection, and the science behind it is impressive. Lean works in 3 ways. It helps maintain healthy blood sugar, it supports appetite and cravings, and it helps your body burn fat by converting it into energy, which can help keep weight off. That's important. So if you're trying to lose weight at a healthy pace and actually sustain it, Lean is designed to support the work that you're already doing. So get 20% off when you use the code LEMON at takelean.com. That's TAKE lean.com. Use the code LEMON. Thank you very much to our sponsors. Make sure, guys, you hit that subscribe button, like and subscribe. Okay, put that up for me, Andy, if you can. Like and subscribe. That's how we stay viable here. You can go to the YouTube page. You can subscribe there. You can hit the like button now on whatever platform you're watching on. Maybe it is Twitch. Maybe it's TikTok. Maybe it's Instagram. Just hit the thumbs up or the heart or whatever it is. Smash the screen, as they say. And also, Your memberships are very important. So I want to thank Nubian Queen. Because of Nubian Queen 6391, her generosity, 10 people get to become members of Elimination. And because of Science of Success, Neuro, 5 people get to become members of Elimination. So thank you for your generosity. We appreciate it. And we appreciate your support of independent media, independent journalism. Someone said that I was a king of independent journalism or independent media. Like, okay, I'll take it. Now, back to the program. Thank you so much. I want to just go and talk a little bit more about what James Carville and I were talking about before. And I want to play a little bit more of Harry Inton, because this is how I believe the American people are on to Donald Trump. And so much so that I don't believe that they're tuning in, or you are tuning in, or you are paying as much attention, because you're just over it. You're like, I'm done with it. He keeps doing one crazy thing after the other. So many people this weekend, or this week, excuse me, and this weekend, were asking me about, actually it was this weekend, right? Today's Monday. Maduro, did you see? Oh my gosh, I was watching it in my hotel room. I had to turn it off. And I'm like, why are you doing that to yourself? I didn't pay attention to it. I saw it and I was like, okay, that tracks. I don't need to tune into it right now. But when I go back to work on Monday, I will tune in. And that's how I stay informed without being inundated. It's not that I'm unaware of the news. It's just that I choose to guard my peace, as I said. And I believe that many Americans are doing the same thing. They're just like, you know what, I'm done. And when I can make a difference, like when I go to vote in 2026, then I will. Or as they did back in November, I think it was November, early December, when we had those 2 Tuesday elections. This is what the American people are doing. The searches for Maduro down. And so this will let you know how people feel about it. Watch.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I don't think this, wagging of the tail will actually work out is because folks' interest in this story has very much been going adios amigos, goodbye. I mean, just take a look here. Google searches for Nicolás Maduro after peaking this weekend down 70%. Down 70% versus Saturday. There was a peak on Saturday, but John, then the interest went, see you later, goodbye. And more than that, we can look at history, right? Look at another time we went into a foreign country, right? Take a look here. Google searches for Maduro at the peak, 74% lower than when we went into Pakistan and got Osama bin Laden back in May of 2011. And that had a little bit of a boost for Barack Obama, the president back then, but it was very much of a fleeting boost. So the bottom line is, you look at these numbers, there's fleeing interest in the story and way less interest than we had back during a military operation that did provide a boost to Obama, but not really one that was long-lasting.
Interesting to see if that changes over the course of the week with football over, but this really does show that people stop paying attention pretty quickly on Saturday.
Yeah.
In terms of what happens next, obviously, the United States says it's running Venezuela, but what do the prediction markets say? Who do they think will be running Venezuela?
Yeah, who do we think is going to be leading Venezuela? Look,
Okay.
It's a little...
All right, that's good. Wow, CNN doing a prediction market now. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Okay. Well, hey, look, got to do what you got to do, man. You got to do what you got. The times they are a changing. Oh my gosh. Oh, there's so much that I could laugh. I saw a notice for someone, this group. First, I'm just going to say for CNN saying, oh, our 50% sale on subscriptions is over in a day. And I'm like, wow, CNN is out here busking for prescriptions like us streamers. Woo, man. I'm sorry. Sorry. I needed that. Y'all know what I'm saying. Oh my gosh. What is going on in this world? Okay, so anyways, people are like, they're over it. They know. I'm telling you, I have this feeling about 2026. I told you that before 2026 even started, when I gave you my New Year's prediction and how I felt about it. It's going to take a while. I know you got to have a belly laugh sometimes, because what is it? Vengeance is mine, said the Lord. Woo! Karma. So look, I'm just saying, you cannot, don't take the American people for fools. That's just like an audience. If you don't serve your audience, if all of a sudden I turned around today and I started saying, I agree with Donald Trump and I love it, and let's have invite on some crazy MAGA person, you'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? And so I think that you can't, the audiences are stupid. The American people aren't stupid. So they know what a distraction is. They know what people are grifting. They know that Donald Trump is grifting. They know that it's either or both. It can be, as I said, it's compound. It's a combination. It's a distraction from the Epstein files, which I truly believe a lot of this stuff is, or it is the money from the oil that he thinks that people are going to get rich. He knows that he's going to become richer, that his rich friends are going to become richer. So thank you, Leo Beauty 92 as well. 5 people get, because of your generosity, get to become members of the Lemon Nation. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Simply Heard too. Welcome to the Lemon Nation. And for all of your generous support, all of our new members. So that's where we are. It's crazy. And just so you know, when they say, what this is about, what it isn't about, I just want to play Rand Paul for you. Rand Paul explained, and Rand Paul is a Republican. Remember that. Rand Paul explained about this whole bullshit thing about Venezuela and fentanyl and drugs and whatever. None of this is true. None of it holds water. Is Maduro a bad person? Absolutely. Does he deserve to be the leader of anything? No. But America has a constitution. America believes in due process. America believes in not invading sovereign nations. Americans believe in, and MAGA is supposed to even believe in, no foreign intervention. That's what, as James was saying, there are true believers in this, and the least MAGA of them all right now seems to be Donald Trump. Now, I just want to listen. This is Rand Paul. Again, this is a Republican, because you're hearing a lot of things about, and a lot of people on the right making excuses saying, oh, he's doing the right thing. It's a terrible guy. This is a good thing. They're trying too hard. They're trying too hard. This is great. This is good. Well, it's not, because it's all built on a lie. All of MAGA, all of it is built on a lie and conspiracy theories. And this Venezuela thing is built on a lie and a conspiracy. Watch.
Number one, there is no fentanyl made in Venezuela. Not just a little bit, there's none being made in Venezuela. These are outboard boats that, in order for them to get to Miami, would have to stop and refuel 20 times. They're in all likely going to Trinidad and Tobago, which is an island right off of the coast of Venezuela. So there's a lot of reasons to be worried about this. But number one is the broader principle of, when can you kill people indiscriminately? When you're at war. That's why when we declare war, it's supposed to be done by Congress. It's supposed to be thoughtful. It's supposed to be debated. And we're not supposed to do it willy-nilly. And then when you have war, you just kill people in the war zone. And even then there are rules of engagement. But interdicting drugs has always been a criminal activity and a criminal anti-crime sort of activity, where we don't just summarily execute people. We actually present evidence and convict them.
Thank you, Rand Paul. I never think I'd say thank you, Rand Paul. I remember Rand Paul and I had a huge fight on TV. But you know what? He came back. I mean, it was huge. It was written up and people were like, oh my gosh, no one has ever gone after anyone like that. And I would not let him get away with the bullshit. I just kept going after him. And I kept saying, you're not answering my question. You're not answering my question. Answer the question. And he goes, I'm trying to answer your question. I said, no, you're not. You're trying to distract. Look it up. That was a doozy of an interview. But I had a bunch of doozies like that. But yes, I know. Someone said in the thing, Piers Morgan, ugh. I'm sorry. I know how you guys feel about it. But yeah, look, they have to prove that, someone in the comments said they have to prove that he's a bad guy, which we know, but they still have to have the evidence. And as Rand Paul said, there are ways that we do things in this country. Otherwise, we're no better than Venezuela, or than the way the Venezuelan government has been operating. We're no better than that. And now he's threatening to go into Cuba and Greenland and other places. He's like, I'm just going to, we need to take care of this person over here and this person over there. And as I said this morning, Donald Trump is a convicted criminal. All right. You can call him a felon. He's a convicted criminal. And he has dictatorial inclinations. He said he was going to be a dictator on day one. He acts like a tyrant. And so what if all of a sudden, Macron said, this is enough. Or the UK said, this is enough. This guy is a tyrant. He needs to be taken down. He's trying to overturn elections. He needs to be prosecuted and brought in front of the war crimes. What he did in Venezuela is a war crime. Well, now, what if they started doing that and they picked up Donald Trump? Or even, let's just say, a member of his administration, if they picked up Pete Hegseth for war crimes because of the double tap on the boat. What if they did that and came into this country? What would we do? How would we feel about it? How would the Trump people feel about it? I'm not going to ask you how you'd feel about it because you might like it. But how would the Trump people feel about it? Not so much. They would not like it. And now they have set a precedent. So if someone wants to do it, so be it. They can. They'll say, he did it to Venezuela. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Now, let's talk about what's happening in Minnesota. Do you guys know this story? This is a very interesting story that's happening in Minnesota. We'll get back to all of that. I want to get to this Tim Walz story. You guys know Tim Walz. Tim Walz was the vice presidential candidate on the ticket with Kamala Harris. She was at the top of the ticket. He's at the bottom of the ticket. And there has been this. Now, in a statement today, he said that he's ending his reelection bid and that he's not going to seek a third term. And he said it was because of political gamesmanship that they were seeing from Republicans. It was only making it that fight harder to win. And he highlighted the attention of fraud allegations in Minnesota. He has not been implicated in that. And some people believe that it is political. I think that, yes, there is a political motivation to it on the right. And so now he is stepping down. This is what he initially cited in part of his speech this morning. Watch.
Which brings me to this. 2026 is an election year. Election years have a way of ramping up the politics at a time when we simply can't afford more of that in Minnesota. In September, I announced that I would seek a historic third term as Minnesota's governor. And I have every confidence that if I gave it my all, we would win the race. But as I reflect on this moment with my family and my team over the holidays, I came to the conclusion that I can't give a political campaign my all. Every minute that I spend defending my own political interest would be a minute I can't spend defending the people of Minnesota against the criminals who prey on our generosity and the cynics who want to prey on our differences. So I've decided to step out of this race, and I'll let others worry about the election while I focus on the work that's in front of me for the next year.
So the Washington Post reporting, Walz drops his bid for re-election as Minnesota governor while Amy Klobuchar considers a run. Now, Amy Klobuchar is the senator there. I think she's a senior senator in Minnesota. And she wants to be governor. An interesting move. Maybe she feels that she needs some sort of executive experience, some administrative experience in running a state and running something so that she can make a bid for president. So we'll see. But that's what they're saying is likely to happen. We'll see if that does happen. Senator Amy Klobuchar is seriously considering a run for governor. That's what NBC News is reporting. The source said Klobuchar is receiving outreach from people encouraging her to run, but that she has not made a decision. Klobuchar would not be up for re-election until 2030 if she stayed in the Senate. Now, this is the thing. I'll let Tim Walz describe one more thing. If he describes what happened and why he's not doing it. He believes that there's political motivation on the right, and that's part of his decision. Here it is.
We've got Republicans here in the state legislature playing hide and seek with potential whistleblowers. We've got conspiracy theorist right-wing YouTubers breaking into our daycares, demanding access to our children. We've got the President of the United States demonizing our Somali neighbors and wrongfully confiscating funds that Minnesotans rely on. It's disgusting and it's dangerous. Republicans are playing politics with the future of this state. It's shameful. And I've said it before, and I will continue to say it. We welcome ideas from anyone, in any party, from any walk of life, who wants to help us continue to stay ahead of these criminals. And we welcome the involvement of the federal government. I am grateful to the career professionals at the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI who have been helping us fight this fight for years. But I cannot abide the actions of the political leadership in Washington. These opportunists are willing to hurt our people to score cheap points. They and their allies have no intention of helping us solve this problem. and every intention of trying to profit off of it.
Now, let me just say, I think that is look, I'm not in his head, I'm not in his inner circle, but it seems like a selfless act to me that he is doing this. I think he's looking out for the people, not for himself, because a lot of politicians would stay in and I'm the best candidate. I can win. I know I can win. And he's saying, not only is he saying that it's going to be tough, but he's saying that the odds are not in his favor. And he's also saying, I don't want to put my family through this. I don't want to put the people of Minnesota through this. So I think that's a pretty selfless decision. Now, I want to, and then I'll tell you what's happening with the whole political thing. But even Sarah Longwell over at the Bulwark, I think she is on the same page as I am. I think this is a good thing I think this is a good decision.
I was ripshit about them choosing Tim Walz as the vice presidential candidate. I thought that was a ridiculous choice. I thought that they made this weird, like quick gut level thing just because he was getting some traction by calling Republicans weird. He always struck me as a liberal's idea of what might make a crossover type person.
Pause.
Picking someone.
I think that Sarah is right there. It's the same thing that would happen with Hillary Clinton in 2016. Why can't I think of his name? But it was a Tim Walz type. See, I can't even think of his name.
Tim Kaine.
Tim Kaine. Thank you very much. And they always pick the person that they think. I don't think that she's wrong. Someone says that she's wrong. I don't think she's wrong. I think she's right. I think that Tim Kaine not Tim Kaine. I think that Tim Walz is a nice guy. I just don't know if he was the right person, especially when you're, for the time that we were in. So I don't believe that she's wrong. I think she's exactly right. It's hard to hear. I'm not going to continue to tell you things. Not that I've been doing it. I'm going to continue to tell you things that you need to hear rather than things that you want to hear. It's obvious that the ticket was weak because in part, that was part of the reason that they lost. There were other things that were at play, but she said it was idea of what a liberal vice president and what a liberal ticket needed. And I think the energy was on a more progressive side of the party. And I think that the vice president and her team, it was probably more about her team, could have made a stronger decision, a bolder decision, and perhaps they would be in the White House right now. The evidence of what I'm saying is Tim Walz is not resigning as governor, but saying he's not going to run. And thank you. So I think that's the evidence of it. But continue on with Sarah.
Solidly blue state when things were on a knife's edge. Like, I couldn't have less good feelings, not about Walz himself. Like, he was a good governor for his state. But like, as a national figure, I always thought it was a mistake. And I was really concerned about him being in the 2028 mix as president. I thought that was going to be a huge mistake. And then but he has been through, even though it was like this very truncated version, he's been through the ringer of a presidential cycle and has seen, and in some ways that can make you say, oh, I can do this. Like I can do this. If I had more time, I'd do better. But it can also show you how quickly things can turn, how a scandal like this can dog you, how at the center of the political conversation right now with immigration being the kind of issue it is, that right now feeds off of a narrative around not just like that, like even people who come here legally are sort of taking the resources of Americans. Like, that is the right's central point. That is America first. That is Stephen Miller. And like, he was going to end up right at the center of that. And you can't, there are ways you can be the big antagonist on that. You can fight back against that. You can't do it when you're sitting on top of a scandal this big. Yeah. And so to answer your question, I do think that Tim Walz had a close enough seat to the Joe Biden thing and to see how all of this impacted it, that he was uniquely positioned to say, you know what, I got to get out of the way. That he would be in a similar, he would be making a similar mistake if he were to try to fight through it. And so I very much commend this decision.
So I'm with Sarah Longwell. That was a great assessment, Sarah. Great, great, great assessment. By the way, Sarah, over the folks over at the Bulwark do such a great job. And by the way, you guys know what the Bulwark is. Their impetus, how they started, is that they were Republicans who were, you could call them in exile, because they were like, wait, what happened to our party? Him, her, Tim, JVL. Is that his name, JVL? And all of them. They're like, there was this disaffected Republicans who saw things clearly. And I think she's right. Someone in the comment section said, I like Tim Walz. There's nothing to when you're giving a political assessment, or you are criticizing or giving doing constructive criticism, it has nothing to do with how much you like someone. What you're doing is giving analysis. And sometimes you give analysis that people don't agree with. And sometimes you say things that people don't agree with, because that's just how it's done. And so while I think that Tim Walz, and I met him at the Democratic convention, was a nice guy. I love how he's such a family man. I love how he protects his son and his children and his wife. I love that. I think it's great. But do I think that he was the right person? No, I don't necessarily think that. I don't believe that he was. And just as you guys remember for Barack Obama, when I hear him, I wish I could find the soundbite, criticizing Donald Trump and talking about what was going to happen in a second Trump administration. And then, boom, whatever you call it, hot cut to him sitting at Carter's funeral, kikiing with Donald Trump. I was like, what are you doing, man? It makes it all seem fake. Like, I was very disappointed in that. And I love Barack Obama. I think he was obviously the first Black president of the United States. Was amazing to me. That was very prideful for me, especially being able to watch his rise from a state senator to a senator, being his local anchor person in Chicago. That was, I was like, wow, this is amazing. You can really do and be whatever you want in this country. I used to watch Barack Obama, carry around his Bible and walk around in his holy shoes in the same suit that he wore all the time, and just aggressive and hungry. But that doesn't mean because I'm giving an assessment about something that he's done as a political figure that I don't like him. No, I have nothing but the utmost respect for him and his wife, or any figure. But I have to do my job, and I have to do an assessment. And that's all that it is. So anyways, I agree with Sarah Longwell. But also, I need to tell you about the politics behind the Tim Walz decision, because MAGA and MAGA streamers and conspiracy theorists are in full effect right now. But first, a word from our sponsors. Support for the show comes from Fatty 15. Now, I think a lot about aging, not just how long we live, but how well we live. Energy, sleep, joints, focus, all of it. You notice that when those things change. Fatty 15 is based on a major scientific breakthrough. It is the first new essential fatty acid discovered in over 90 years. It's called C15, and it supports cellular health and healthy aging. The benefits were discovered while helping aging dolphins live longer, healthier lives. Since then, more than 100 studies show C15 helps strengthen cells and slow biological aging. It's really true. That's how it was discovered. So when we don't get enough, or our cells become more fragile, you need some help, maybe something on top to help it. So personally, I've noticed better sleep and steadier energy. Fatty 15 is vegan, patented, and delivers more cellular benefits than fish oil. Get 15% off of their 90-day starter kit at fatty15.com/lemon with the code LEMON. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. A new year doesn't require a new you. Sometimes it just means a lighter you, less burdened, less stuck, less weighed down. Therapy can help with that. It gives you space to understand what's holding you back and what you're ready to let go of. So BetterHelp makes it easy. Their therapists are fully licensed, professionally vetted, and they handle the matching process for you. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch at any time. They have over 30,000 therapists and have helped more than 5 million people. Their live sessions average a 4.9 out of 5 rating. It's private, it's convenient, and it's entirely online. Get 10% off of your first month at betterhelp.com/lemon. That's betterhelp.com/lemon. Thanks to our sponsors. Thank you so much to our sponsors. Sponsors also keep us viable out here on these independent streets. These independent streets are not, look, you got to, you got to walk around with a shiv sometimes. I'm messing around. But you got to be tough and strong out here on these independent streets, because that's nothing to mess with. These are mean streets out here. I'm just saying. Okay, so let me tell you what's happening in Minnesota. The story that has come up and brought up a right-wing, or especially over the holidays, and in these sort of right-wing conspiracy theorists and right-wing broadcasts and the Fox News, conservative news of the world, is a story that is old. A story that has been investigated. It was investigated by the Biden administration. On the new revelations about the Somalian and all that stuff, that was reported back in November. But someone with a video camera, this right-wing influencer, was late last month, a video from this right-wing influencer's name is Nick Shirley, went viral alleging fraud at child care facilities in Minnesota. After the video went viral, the Department of Health and Human Services announced it would freeze all federal child care payments to the state. Now, here's the thing. Again, it is an old story, but that doesn't mean that they didn't do anything wrong. I'm just telling you that it was being investigated. And they were trying to say that it wasn't being investigated. It was. Days later, the Minnesota Department of Children and Youth and Families said that investigators found the child care facility in question were operating as expected. Dozens of suspects were indicted in 2022 during the Biden administration as part of an alleged $250 million fraud scheme with the nonprofit Feeding Our Future. And so there was a statewide audit in 2024, but all of this, it's like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Here's a CNN report that shows the right-wing influencer being confronted about his reporting. And again, if there's new revelations coming from this right-wing influencer, then great, so be it. But to pretend and frame this story as if it's a new story and mainstream media is not covering it or did not cover it, it's just bullshit. It is a lie. And by the way, Tim Walz has not been implicated in this at all. Did it happen on his watch? Yes, some of it did. But here we go. Watch this.
We're from CNN. Can we talk to you?
This is MAGA YouTuber Nick Shirley. Back at a daycare in Minnesota, he alleged was a fraudulent facility in a now viral video.
People are going to say this is a left or right issue, but no, fraud is fraud. And so I'm not out here trying to put a twist on things.
Shirley's viral video, released over the weekend, in which he says he's uncovering tens of millions of dollars in fraud at Minneapolis daycares run by the Somali community, was retweeted by Elon Musk and Vice President J.D. Vance. In the video, Shirley tries to open locked doors and talk to people at various daycares he claims are frauds.
Did you come during their normal operating hours when you came to visit?
I came at 11 a.m., I believe, and I also came the following day later in the day. The point of it is not whether or not I came at the right time of their operation hours. The point is that blacked out doors, they can't give you any information. You call that number, no one answers. I wasn't trying to go inside, and there should be a way for somebody to actually be able to call that number and somebody to be able to answer. These aren't real businesses.
But surely you don't think a daycare should just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a daycare.
There should be a reception.
No, every daycare is locked.
Their doors are locked.
And so, okay, you bring this is what happens. So this is any journalist would know that. Now, I'm not saying that this person isn't, did something wrong. Well, I guess they did in the reporting, but any journalist knows that if you go to a daycare center, the doors are going to be locked, and they should be locked in this environment. And so that is an important aspect of this. Another important aspect of it is, did you go during normal business hours, or did you go when the doors would be locked or no one would be there, or was it a holiday, or what was it? So all those things need to be talked about in the reporting. Now that is a danger of streaming and influencers, is because they don't have that training. They don't have that background. Keep going.
But why can't they actually give me information how to enroll a child?
Federal law enforcement has been investigating fraud in Minnesota for several years. Both Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel said on social media they've indicted dozens of defendants. DHS has posted multiple videos of agents they say are conducting a massive fraud investigation.
Do you think that federal law enforcement hasn't done enough? I mean, they would say, look, these fraud cases have been going on, but they've already done like 80 indictments. The cases have been going on, for years.
Why did I show up one day in Minnesota and go to all these daycares, no children, they're receiving millions of dollars. We uncovered nearly $110 million in fraud in one day.
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys what was happening. and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
CNN is looking into Shirley's claims.
Hi, my name's Whitney Wild. I'm a correspondent for CNN.
We reached out to several of the daycares featured in the now viral video. Only one daycare facility answered and said they are a legitimate business.
Have you seen the videos, purporting that some of these daycares don't have kids inside?
Minnesota Republicans say despite the new focus from the Trump administration, they have been sounding the alarm on fraud for years.
We have talked about fraud. We have gotten stories. We've tried to push this forward every way that we can.
At the daycare where Shirley showed back up, a stream of children walk inside.
You're saying that this is a fraudulent daycare. There's kids being dropped off right now.
Yes, the commissioner of children literally said a week ago this place was closed.
Did you know
They're
that?
showing face right now.
A viral video, disputed claims, and their full fallout remains to be seen.
Okay. That I don't know. I don't think I know that correspondent. I'm not sure she was there when I was there, but she did a great job. That was a really good job. That's what people should be doing instead of like standing in front of buildings or in front of the White House or all that stuff. It's like, no, get out there, get into it. And so good job, Whitney Wild. Good job. You have to give credit where credit is due. Now, again, this story has been told before. This is not new. And fraud, statewide fraud, is nothing new. It happens in almost every single state. It happened in Mississippi. I think it happened in West Virginia. They're all over. There was this one, I think it involved like a famous ball player. Wasn't long ago. This is our friend Katie Fang when she was on MSNBC reporting on a Mississippi welfare fraud. Nothing new.
Let's get you caught up. Joe, these are the four main players in this scandal that you need to know about. On the far left is former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant. He was the man in charge of the state of Mississippi when all of this went down. Now, next to him is John Davis, the state's former welfare agency director. Then next is Nancy New. She was the head of a nonprofit in Mississippi that worked with the state welfare agency. And then next to her is, of course, Brett Favre, former NFL quarterback and Mississippi native. They're all caught up in an alleged welfare fraud scheme that, to the Mississippi State Auditor, says involved the misuse of more than $70 million, earmarked to go to the state's poorest. The money was instead used for all kinds of non-welfare related payouts, like to a retired pro wrestler, a horse farm, and yes, to Brett Favre. Keep in mind, this is the same state that's capital city couldn't even deliver clean drinking water for months to its residents. And it ranks as the poorest state in the country, with nearly 20% of its residents living in poverty. That state auditor's report found that Favre took more than $1 million for speeches he never gave. Favre has since paid back that money, but the state says he still owes more than $200,000 in interest. That same report shows $5 million in welfare funds were used to build a new volleyball stadium at Favre's alma mater, the University of Southern Mississippi. His daughter just happens to have played volleyball at USM at that time. Favre and Bryant have denied knowing where the money was coming from, and neither has been charged with a crime, but Davis and New have. This spring, New and her son pleaded guilty to bribery and fraud charges and agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. Since then, an attorney representing New's nonprofit has handed over text messages from Favre that suggest to critics his further involvement in the welfare scheme. Favre allegedly writing in one text, "Nancy, Santa came today and dropped some money off." The messages don't indicate Favre knew exactly where the cash was coming from, though.
Okay, so then there you go. All right, so then you get the text messages from him and all of that. And again, some folks have been charged, some have not. Favre said that he had no idea. Okay, let me just say, so there's fraud is everywhere. But my point is that you had lawmakers and even Donald Trump saying that the Somalian people were terrible, that they should be deported. Why are we letting people in the country? They should get rid of these Somalian people out of our country. Now, are they saying that about these white people in Mississippi? Do they want to deport Brett Favre? I didn't stutter. I said it. Is that would you, do you see anybody asking for that? That's the whole point about racism. They never think about that. They never think about if it happens to their own people, or they don't even know. It doesn't even register to them that they're exhibiting some sort of bigoted or racist behavior by suggesting that. People of all different stripes can do unlawful things, including presidents of the United States who are convicted of multiple crimes. People of all different ethnicities and backgrounds. But, speaking of football players, Brett Favre, if you look at the ones that are doing most of the committing for child sex abuse, that would be mainly, according to Tim Tebow and according to the records in the stats, that would be middle-aged white men, and many of them MAGA. Look at your timeline. Go check it out. So people can do bad things no matter where they're from. Black people can do bad things, and they do. White people can do bad things, and they do. Somalians can do bad things, and they do. Jewish people can do bad things, and they do. It doesn't matter. It's human. Unfortunately, it's human nature. So it's not just one type of person who can do something. Everyone is capable of it. If you'd like to know anything about the Don Lemon Show, you can go to donlemon.com. I mean, just go. Why would you just say go to donlemon.com and just start clicking on things and subscribing? That's what I would say. Just go click and subscribe and go and just buy merch and just do all the things, because that's how we stay viable. That's how you continue to make me, as they say, the king of independent media, the king of independent journalism. Should I crown myself? I guess I should crown myself. But anyways, thank you so much for supporting. Thank you for watching our members only show. By the way, if you go into the YouTube one, which is at the top, it says watch. Also click on Twitch and all those things. But if you go into the YouTube one and you join, then you too get to become part of our members only stream, which we are about to, depending on, I think you have to be at the Lemonhead level for that to happen. The Lemonhead and then the Lemon Legend, you have to be at that level. But I mean, look, that's pretty, I mean, those are reasonable. You spend more than $3 a day on coffee. This is a month. You spend more than $9.99, some of you a day on coffee. That's a month. And I think for our legends who actually get to be on the screen with us, challenge us, and be part of the show every single week, I don't think that that's too much to ask, to have your voices heard. You don't get that. And even if you subscribe to a mainstream outlet that is giving you streaming, you're not going to have that kind of access. You're not going to get to be on the program. You're not going to be able to get as close to the organization or to the person as you are here. I'm just saying, it's a community, it's a family. It's not just you're watching our channel. So thank you for all of your support. Check out our merch as well, which is on the Don Lemon page, and you can just go to click the merch and show them right there. And we got all the stuff that you need. You guys wanted the merch, you got it. You asked for it, you got it. So thank you so much for supporting. I appreciate it. Thank you for helping to build this community. Thank you for your love and your support, as I always say on our end card every single day. So I want you to be informed without being inundated until I see you back here, unless you're on the private stream that's coming up next. Until I see you back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time on the Don Lemon Show and Don Lemon channel. Turn the TV off. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time, with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.